Hello. Today I am going to be doing my review and summary check and reading reflection for All American Boys with my partners of during English class. So during pages through 150 and 100 through 100 to 150 of All the American Boys by Jason Reynolds, the summary is that Quinn decides to stop being a bystander and he starts joining, like that they're starting to make a protest, and he's actually going through a lot of mental struggles throughout this. It's actually getting really interesting, and it starts getting to the point where he actually wants to talk to some people about it. So he eventually wants to go over to Spoonie and over to English. So he goes over to English and he wants to actually know about Rashad. So while he wants to know about Rashad, English also gets a little offensive and he also gets mad at Quinn, and at that point they have an argument. Throughout this, Quinn also has he actually ends up taking Paul's side and he actually ends up being loyal. And then Guzzo is hearing all of this and he's also grinning. And then after this, after the argument, because English tells mean things to Quinn, he eventually has an argument with Guzzo. And after this, he doesn't know what to do. So he also ends up arguing with Guzzo, telling him to F off. And he's saying, I don't know. One minute you're defending my brother, and the next minute you're telling me to F off. I just don't get you. So he's leaving and he's grinning, and then eventually Quinn decides to end up going and apologizing to English again, but then they get into another argument, and then he also ends up arguing with Guzzo. He doesn't know what to do by this point, and eventually he also ends up talking to Jill about it. It gets really interesting as well because throughout this, on Rashad's point of view, he also all this happened because he wanted to get a bag of chips, and he thinks that he's not really the problem anymore by this point from pages 170 to 190. And he's over there still in the hospital, he's getting better. He's also talking about this girl named Barry, and yeah, with the other people like Carlos, and they're still by his side in the hospital. He seems to be wanting to get better and everything. And what I discussed about this with my table group is that the moment about Quinn, we found that he was getting a little relatable, that he was going through these struggles, and we were feeling kind of bad for him, the empathy and everything. And we feel like this could get to the point where Rashad and Quinn could also be friends, so it could get a little interesting throughout the story, to doing what's right instead of doing what's wrong, because we all know that Quinn is doing the right thing other than defending his loyal friend Paul, which did a really bad thing. And that's about it.